All right, guys, welcome back to Wealth and Travel on a Dime. So today I want to take you through the dividend portfolio that we've made major changes to for the month of June. Now, for those of you that are new, we have two portfolios. All right, we have one that is like a Coast 5 portfolio, which means it's just index funds. We filled it up in like 9 years. We're just going to let it grow and we'll be able to get into all those retirement accounts without penalty. So we just let that grow. This, what I'm sharing today, is our income slash dividend portfolio. This account's job is to get us through paying our bills starting probably the end of this year or next summer through those 9 years. So it's a real simple job that this portfolio has to do. How big I will build it, who knows? We'll have to see. But I want to bring you into what we're doing with it, because if you saw my previous video, we actually had a lot of holdings and some of them had lower yields. Now, to get perspective on this month, my wife came home one day after doing DoorDash, which is one of the side hustles we do to make money. And she had 2 contract violations. So if those of you don't know, when people call in and say they didn't get their food, or they say it took you too long to get somewhere, these are all things that'll give you contract violations. Now you can work them off, but you have to do 100 deliveries to work them off. So it's kind of a game DoorDash is playing. So now they're giving out contract violations even more because the orders are getting worse. Some of them as low as $1 per order. And DoorDash trying to get more orders taken. So she came home very upset because usually after 3 contract violations, you get kicked off the platform. And to be basically told that you're getting close to not having a way to make an income, having one of your income streams taken away, that irritated her. She was not happy. And she basically looked at me and said, it's time for us to get aggressive. I want to get this portfolio done. So do what you have to do. So generally I've been holding back some, trying to be as efficient from a tax standpoint as well as an income standpoint, and a little safer. But she basically told me to take the gloves off, but still, make a good portfolio. Nothing that's going to have destructive return of capital. We don't mind constructive return of capital here, but we're not trying to see a ladder going down a hill when you look at the charts. So what I want to do is bring you in here on the Google Pixel tablet, walk you through some of the changes we've made, show you the added capital we've added to it, and talk about, what we're really going to get, because the numbers shown here are based on the last 30 days, and that can be deceptive. So let's get in here and take a look. All right, so now we are into the Google Pixel here. So if you just glance at this, if you watched our previous video, you'll notice this is a lot smaller than what it was. We have sold a lot of positions in order to move cash into higher yields. Now, I do want to say that I'm having to do it on the dividend tracker here because we have this over 3 different portfolios. And the reason we do that is because we also trade options. So my wife has a portfolio with some of these in them. I have a portfolio with some of these in them, and we're selling options on, positions in these as well as others. But it's also about how we use margin for our options, because we do sell some of our options on margin. But to get back into it here, you've got Arbor Realty Trust. Now would be a good time for us to get out of Arbor if we chose to do so. We haven't decided yet. But right now I've got 100 shares, so I can sell options on it because everybody's trying to short it. So it's making some money. I probably won't get rid of it right now. But you got AMD, which our cost basis is low on that. You got Cornerstone funds here at CLM, CRF. Those, I could hold or get rid of. It really doesn't make a difference to me. They have a decent yield because I have them on Fidelity and they're getting reinvested at the NAV. So it usually comes out to about 25% a year doing it that way. But now Coney, I have a pretty big position in, but if anybody's been watching the last week or so, Bitcoin's been having a little bit of a pullback. So it is down, but the yield on the dividend coming up is looking pretty good. So Coney's probably going to stay a large part of our position, probably going to end up with about $10,000 in there in the long run. We got FEPI here. Now FEPI is one I actually believe in. It's got a 25% yield, but right now we're trying to fill the bigger ones, and I'll speak on that later. But this one will be getting a large amount of cash. At least 20 grand would be my guess. Now, Goop and IWMI are both two that I'm just testing. Goop's by Curve, and it does it on Google. So far, it's been performing pretty decently, but I'm just watching it on the long term. And then IWMI is Neos's brand new fund on the Russell. All right, so there's no data, but everything from Neos has been rock solid. So I bought one share when I first saw it was out, and we're just going to see how it performs. So basically, I get to test it so you guys don't have to. Then you got JEPI and JEPQ. These are solid. I'll end up with about 5 grand in each one, probably by the time this portfolio is done. MSFO is strictly a play that I could sell out of any time. I've been watching it tick up, and I'm watching what it's doing. So right now I'm collecting yield and share price appreciation on this, so no complaints. Misty. Now, each of us have $500 in Misty, and we put it in like that to split it up between two portfolios. But with crypto doing the things it's doing right now, nobody knows what it's going to do, but it's paying good, so I'm not going to mess with it. I got a few shares of Nvidia I bought back when a little after it came out. I'm not doing anything with those, just collect the yield. PBR, that's kind of a risky play, but I don't mind it. Obviously, I have QQQI from Neos. You're going to see that I like to collect Neos. It's going to be bigger after we get some of our big positions filled. I'm going to put a lot of money in Neos funds because they have constructive return of capital, where they basically every month give you 90% return of capital, but the NAV is going up. This is how MLPs work money. It's very tax efficient. So say if you're getting 10% yield on something, let's say, then you're going to get the next 10 years is going to be 90% tax free. And whatever's after that, or the other 10%, is a 60-40 split because they're using the tax rule on index funds. So 60% long-term capital gains, 40% short-term. So when it comes down to these funds, these are very, very efficient. Neos funds are very efficient tax-wise. Rhythm, I'm waiting for the dividend, and I'm probably going to sell that off because we're on a little uptick, and I'm going to take my money and run. Next is SPYI, once again another Neos fund. SVOL. Now, I had been all about SVOL, but I'm going to tell you guys now you need to go check out Retire on Dividends. Did one to live off this. And he showed how it's going down a little over 1% a year, okay, in NAV. And then you look at like how it's taxed and its yield and everything, how it operates. And it was coming in at like actually about 7 or 8%. Now, SVOL has a high expense ratio, so that may be the NAV depreciating 1 or 1.5% a year. That may be that. But if not, and you're adding in the expense ratio, and you're adding in the taxes, and you're adding in that NAV depreciation and everything, it's not putting out anywhere near 16%. So I have about $5,000 in this. I'm going to hold. I'm not getting rid of it because I like the volatility, because that's like basically an entire different category I'm in. So I will hold at 5,000, but I won't be buying anymore. Now, Torm. Once again, risky play, wouldn't suggest it. Now these last three are pretty important. I'm going to jump to the bottom and say ZIVB is a lot like SVOL. Higher expense ratio, but much higher yield. But they're basically, I don't want to say exactly, but they're basically doing the same thing. The only thing I don't know about is SVOL has a plan in place if the VIX spikes and goes crazy. I don't know if ZIVB does. And you can get wrecked real quick if volatility just spikes out of control in how they're shorting. So something to think about with that one. Kind of another one I'd be concerned about. But let's talk about the last two and the biggest positions we're holding at the moment. And that's YMAG and YMAX. Now, I've gone back and forth changing how much I want in each of these for the baseline portfolio to get the actual 36,000 we're looking to get out of this a year. And it's changed multiple times, mostly because the Bitcoin pullback is dragging down YMAX. And now I see YieldMax about to let loose a whole bunch more funds. And I'm kind of concerned that might be a drag on that. And Bitcoin at the moment is dragging it down because YMAG is now performing better overall. So I think what we're going to do is go 25,000 in YMAG and 15,000 in YMAX and watch how it plays out. If YMAX holds strong, we may up the amount we put in. If not, I may keep a bigger portion in YMAG going forward. But these are our two major plays, is YMAG and YMAX. And it just basically gives us access to all the funds. So if one starts to dip, another goes up, almost the same way it works with index funds. You're crossing out over a large basket of stocks and kind of mitigating some of the risk. Now, with that said, I want to go show you guys. There's $64,420.38. And we're working on some big giant jumps of capital to drop in this thing over the next couple months. Now, it states here that in June, we're going to make $2,067 and that our annual income is going to be $25,000. All right. Now, the yield is based on the last 30 days, and all these funds change constantly. Very few of them have a set rate they stay at. So I'm going to give you the numbers now of exactly what I think it's going to be. So I think right now, based upon everything I see, unless we have a massive Bitcoin, reset, it's going to be about $20,000 a year on this portfolio. So basically a third of our principal gets paid out in income. Now, as far as for June, the 2067 is not correct, but it's basing that off anything we bought, like if it paid the month. Really, we made, I think, $1,800 is what I think we actually made. Now, sometimes it's hard to actually figure it out because we're working with 3 portfolios, so I kind of jump around some. But you never really can tell until all of them come in. So as you can see, the income's coming in. We're snowballing really hard. 64,000 is a nice big jump from my last video about a month ago. We were still in the 50,000s. So we're getting there. And then you got to add on that we did something like $1,500 or $1,600 in options this month as well. So that's extra capital put in. And then we're also taking capital from things we do like side jobs, doing DoorDash, Grubhub, Walmart Spark, as well as some construction jobs we're doing, the firewood, and we're putting fresh capital in to grow this. I anticipate that we'll be at a safe 36,000 when we get to about 120, 125,000. It'll actually be more we're making, but I'm planning for in case volatility drops and these funds can't make as much. You never want to be all in trying to just get one number. You want to be above the bar and continually keep reinvesting some of what you make, even when you're living off of it. Now, please understand that we've got plenty of other videos to make you understand how we can live off $36,000 because this is not all the money we make. As a quick throw out of some things we do, like I said, we do options. By the time this portfolio is that big, it'll be no big deal to do $2,000 in options a month. You got YouTube. We make about $6,000 a year off that, so it's $500 a month. All right, so there you're at $2,500. And then there's plenty of other things. We're not going to just sit around and do nothing. So we're looking at building some Airbnbs with our old house after we move into the tiny house here. So that will produce income as well. We still do firewood. We still will do some construction jobs. So there's plenty of opportunity for money. But what we need a bigger opportunity for is time. And being out doing DoorDash or construction jobs or these things all the time takes away from our time where we can choose to do the things we want, which is why we're building this portfolio. I really hope you guys take the time to go down, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you see all of our upcoming videos. Give us a like. Let us know in the comments what you think. But I'd love to have you join this and watch every month as we build this up and let us know what you think. Now, it is important to mention once again, this is not all of our apples in one basket. We have a whole nother portfolio, well over $150,000 right now, that is basically going to coast-fi for the next 9 years when we can access those retirement accounts. And then 2.5 years after that, if there's Social Security, that'll be in there too. So with all that said, I think we've built up a nice system here, especially because both of our properties are completely paid off and we have no debt. So we are in a position that we are ready to do this. And we would love to see others that are doing this. Hit us up down in the comments. Or if you want to start working your way to this, once again, hit us up down in the comments. We'll talk about it, get some ideas of where we want to go. Work together. People need to discuss these things because in this world today, it's so easy to just burn all your cash and work paycheck to paycheck until you're too old to enjoy life. And that's exactly what we're trying to beat. So with that said, I will see you guys in the next one.